Right, hey guys, how we doing? Back with another video from Annie News, and today we're going to be checking out how magic works in that time I was reincarnated as a slime. Because I want to check out how strong is Rimuru, but I figured we'd check out the magic system one first, then we got Rimuru, and then I'm going to be checking his What Is 86 video, so we'll get a better in-depth look at like the actual description of the anime itself. I know a lot of people have been recommending it on the seasonal stuff and that, but I want to see why I should actually dive into that one specifically. So let's check out how magic works in that time I was reincarnated as a slime, shall we?
That time I reincarnated as a slime has one of the most complex magic systems I've ever come across.
Seems very complex, to be fair.
That change depending on the context of the situation. Everything from the type of magic being cast, all the way to the race of the person.
Yeah, like the person using it can really change it as well.
Certain magical particle is handled from beginning to end. It's a very meticulously designed piece of fantasy that just barely scratches the surface of Tenseda's power system as a whole. Something you're going to need to understand for the next video, which covers a certain
Yeah, you see, I want to check that out, so yeah, we'll do this first.
Let's take a look at how exactly this magic system and its unique concept of magicules actually works. In this world of dragons, demons, and slimes, there exists two main energies in which magic holds influence.
Right.
There's physical energy that deals with the manipulation of already existing physical elements.
Cool, physical elements,
then
yeah.
magical energy that allows for the manipulation of the laws of the world. While both do possess their own unique properties and characteristics.
Okay.
The line between them often
So physical and
gets
magical,
blurred when looking at
yeah.
magic as this all-encompassing topic. Reason being that magical energy can often be used to recreate physical energy.
Yes.
Like Benimaru's Hellflare can reproduce the physical phenomenon of fire. What's important to note, though, is that it's not the same thing.
It's not actual fire.
Because this fire was created from magical energy. It doesn't carry the same properties as a fire that exists naturally through physical energy.
Right, it's like an imitation.
It's an important distinction that changes the way certain spells and skills react with different races of people and monsters.
God.
But before we can get more into why that distinction even matters, we first need to understand the foundation of magic. So, that means taking a closer look at the special particles of energy that exist all throughout the world.
Wow, this is going
The very thing that
in
makes
depth, isn't it?
Tenseda's magic
Jesus.
system what it is. The Magicule.
Magical.
While the Magicule is essentially this world's version of mana, to simply refer to it as the fuel that supplies magical power would definitely be an understatement.
Right, okay. It's never going to be that easy, is
the
it?
core behind all magical and demonic life. So, many monsters, including Rimuru himself, are creatures born directly from the Magicules in the air.
Right.
The rest are simply animals or humans who have mutated into existences that are based
As
on
they've grown up,
magicules,
right.
typically by being exposed to high concentrations of it. It's for this reason that monsters in this world aren't classified the same way we would expect them to be. To call something a monster here would actually be to refer to any species whose constitution is primarily magicule.
Right.
What this means is that their bodies are composed more of magicules than they are physical matter.
Okay.
And the more magicules
They're more
that
magical than
possess,
physical.
the stronger they are as a monster. In fact, the ranking of a monster is determined almost solely by their capacity.
Whoa, okay.
That's why a Calamity class monster like Cravidus was given a
Jesus.
special A rank. As a creature born directly from Veldora's magicules, its capacity for them was said to rival that of a demon lord. So it makes sense that existences similar to that would be at the top of the tier list. Now, with all that said, you should have a general idea of how magicules work as the foundation for all these magical and demonic beings.
Yeah, yeah.
As for why it's a determining factor of power, though, well, that's mainly because of its unique properties. You see, magicules are the very form of energy that allows for the establishment of skills and casting of magic. Because these magicule particles can affect the physical world around them, they can also be manipulated in a way that allows the person or monster possessing them to do the same.
Physical stuff.
They become this medium that grants the ability to influence the laws of reality. And that's what's known as magic. So, to summarize it in a way that Rimuru himself once said, magic is the process of picturing something and creating it in real life.
Yeah.
It's the concept of projecting an idea into reality.
And then making it physical.
That said, there's quite a bit more to the casting of it than simply having the right amount of magicules. The caster also needs to possess a sufficient level of control over
Makes
them,
sense.
as well
You
as
can't
be
just
knowledgeable in exactly what they're trying
beat
to do.
anyone and throw anything
It's
around.
somewhat similar to the way it works in Mushoku.
Yeah.
Since magic requires the user's imagination in order to bring their ideas into reality, it also requires them to have an understanding of the process or method that will allow it to happen. Take a simple elemental spell like Waterblade, for example. Before this developed into a skill that Rimuru could cast automatically, he first had to learn how to cast it as magic. He needed to practice creating a mental image that would manipulate the magicules.
Which is cool, because like it shows that the main character himself even has to go through all these like processes to learn it.
That way he could accurately manipulate the pressure, volume, and subsequent force of the water being output. That's the type of mental image that's required to cast magic. And while it is normally a lot more difficult to do for a lot of the more complex spells, not all types of magic require the mage to have an understanding of science like how the elemental type does.
Right.
The process to realize the caster's vision into reality actually differs depending on the type of magic that's being cast, of which there are 4 main categories.
Okay, here we go. Elemental spirit.
Elemental types
Okay, we're going through them individually. Cool.
Elements and what we know as
Yeah.
science requires an understanding of the world and the laws that
So
govern.
actually understanding how these things
the
work.
caster
I
will
like
either
this. This is
utilize
cool.
the
You
magic
need to
tools
have the
within
knowledge
themselves
of
or
it. You
drop
can't
the
just be like,
magic
right,
tools within a
fire!
certain area, then manipulate them via the mental image process I described earlier. Spirit magic works a little bit differently.
Spirit magic, okay.
It's a form of magic that doesn't quite rely on magicules the same way elemental magic does.
Okay.
Instead, it relies on the establishment of a contract between spirit and
Right,
caster.
yeah, of course, those kids had to
Once
do that, didn't they?
contract has been formed, the mage can now perform magic by using the contracted spirit as their medium.
Yeah, makes sense,
So,
okay.
everything from the moment the spell's initiated, all the way to the instant it's finally cast is handled by the spirit
By the
alone.
spirit alone, right.
It makes it so that magicules and incantations aren't even needed anymore. Well, at least not from the caster. Because the
Yeah, because the spirits do it
actually
for them.
performing the magic.
Right, yeah, that makes
The
sense.
responsibility that comes
Cool.
with it gets passed on to them, making it one of the more valuable types of magic to use in combat.
Definitely, jeez.
That said, there are a couple limiting factors that make spirit magic a bit less versatile than elemental magic. The first is that the spells available to the mage are dependent on the type of spirit they're contracted with.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't go make a contract with Ifrit then expect to be able to use Icicle Lance.
Of course, yeah, because
They
it's
can only
fire-based,
use
yeah.
the spells and skills that Ifrit himself can use. The second is that the overall power of the magic is determined by the spirit's innate ability. If the spirit they're
It is
contracted with
purely
has
highly
one of
dependent on the
magicules,
spirit
then their
itself,
spells and
isn't it?
skills will be
Jeez.
much more effective over a spirit that has less. It's a concept that relates back to how monsters are ranked based on their capacity for magic use.
Mhm.
Usually, spirits who possess more are stronger and
Than the other,
subsequently
yeah.
ranked higher.
Makes sense. You're just passing over that concept to the spirits themselves rather than the person actually, like, that seems to be casting the
It
spells.
involves a pact with a higher power just like before. The only difference is that the higher power you're making a pact with is pretty much God.
Right.
Well, they're God. I can't really say much more without getting into spoilers, but
Spoilery.
it is a type of magic that goes by the name of holy magic, and it functions pretty much the same way that spirit magic does. You see, the pact with this godlike being makes it so that part of their god's power becomes their own. And
Blended.
since the magic is cast through them, magicules once again aren't a necessary part of the process. What is, though, is a devout faith in the god they've chosen to worship. So long as that faith exists and the right knowledge and enough time is given, very powerful spells can be cast via holy magic.
So the stronger the
Now,
faith.
the final main school of magic is
Summoning,
magic,
ooh.
a type that we've seen used numerous times throughout the anime.
Yes.
As the name suggests, this form of magic involves the process of summoning a living being from another plane of reality, typically a spirit or a demon.
Boom.
It's very rare that summoning magic ever be used to summon an otherworlder, regardless of what it is that's being summoned, though. The process itself almost always involves a mass accumulation of magicules and the establishment of a contract.
So cool.
But the exact specifics as to what is required is dependent on whether it's a spirit, demon, or otherworlder.
Oh my.
A topic that isn't really worth delving into right now.
Hmm.
So, that's every main type of magic in the world of Tensida. Of course, there's the other more obscure types like illusion or nuclear.
Illusion,
but those
nuclear.
are things we'll find out
Engraving.
more about
What's
as the story
engraving?
progresses.
No, tell me what
What's
engraving
worth
is.
mentioning right now is that the type of mage you are is determined by the type of magic you're proficient in.
Uh-huh.
So, if you ever
Shaman
see any
and
of these
Chanter.
titles used to refer to
Summoner.
someone in the anime, then
Holy
you'll be able
Knight.
to know right away exactly what
Maya.
type of magic they're capable of.
Wizard.
Anyway, now that you're familiar with the fundamentals of magic, the next thing to know is that pretty much anyone can use it.
Yeah.
All it takes is a sufficient number of magicules, knowledge in exactly what they're trying to do, and a whole lot of practice.
Yeah, like knowledge and
While the
practice seem
latter
to be
two
the thing.
conditions
There we go.
aren't
Yeah, there you go. Knowledge and practice seem to be the two
The
big
former
things.
is the main reason why we usually only ever see Majin or monsters casting magic. Their innate ability to store magicules within themselves makes them much more suited to magic than any human.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Humans, on the other hand, are born without any internal capacity whatsoever, which would initially make you think that magic is something they're incapable of.
But
But that's actually not entirely
Yeah.
true. While it does make learning magic a lot more difficult,
it doesn't mean they can't
the
do it.
concept of external magicule handling is what allows it to be possible. So, if internal handling is the process of using magicules within oneself, then the external variant would be the process of using magicules from the surrounding area. any mage who doesn't have a magic-kill reserve of their own would instead have to rely on magic-kills in the environment, or whatever magic item they have that's used to store them.
Right.
As for the rest of the magic casting process, well, that pretty much remains the same. Really, the only thing that's changed is the source from which the magic-kills come from. Now, despite the majority of what we see in the anime being magic cast via internal magic-kills, it's actually more common for mages to use external magic-kills. I mean, not every country in the world is populated by a majority of Majins who possess high internal capacities for it.
Okay, yeah.
Most mages actually possess little to none, especially if we're talking about
Human ones, yeah, definitely, yeah.
One of the reasons why this is because magic-kills are actually very toxic to most natural life forms.
Right.
Any existence that isn't based on magical energy like how a monster is highly susceptible to a phenomenon known as magic-kill poisoning. So, should a person with little tolerance for magic-kills walk into a place with a high concentration of it,
No.
then it's very likely that the resulting toxic effects could kill them.
Yeah.
That's why no one could approach Beldoro's domain until
That
Rimuru was
makes
born.
sense.
There wasn't any monster or human
that makes
could
sense.
withstand the high concentration
Damn.
of magic-kills surrounding him. Another example of this would be this scene here. Rimuru's unconscious leakage of what was pretty much his true aura was so rich in magic-kills that even a Majin like Benimaru couldn't withstand it.
Yeah.
That said, there are situations where an animal or a human can build up a tolerance, an innate resistance that makes magic-kills a little less toxic to them. But it's when that happens that they evolve or mutate into something different. And that's a whole nother topic that relates more to races than it does to magic. So, instead of getting into that, let's finish things off with how magic is implemented in the anime. Or to put it more accurately, how it's been bypassed in the anime.
Bypassed?
The reason we hardly ever see Rimuru or any of his followers cast magic the way I've described is because they rarely, if ever, are actually casting magic. Most of the time they're using what's known as skills.
Okay. So they've got all this magic system, and it's like, but we don't use that.
Just these things that someone inherently knows how to do. So, when it comes to magic, Rimuru and the others are essentially cheating. Unless they're trying to cast a spell that they're unfamiliar with, they basically get to bypass the entire process with their skills. It's one of the aspects that makes them so much more overpowered.
Right, that's what makes them so OP
this,
compared to everyone
else.
else.
Just a very brief overview.
Yeah.
Skills are a much more complex topic that requires a video of its own. Well, that and plenty other magical adjacent
Naming races, the body, summoning arts, rag, titles.
For now, though, I think we've covered everything that needs to be said about the fundamentals and its bearing over magic. It's definitely one of the more complex systems that I've had to look into. So, hopefully I didn't make too many mistakes in the process. If you're someone who's an expert on all things Tensida, then I'd be happy to have you join my Discord so you can give some input.
I'm really not.
The link to that will be down in the description.
I'm no expert at anything.
But, yeah. If you like this video and you want to see more, then be sure to leave a like or a comment so that I know that you're interested.
Cool.
I'm for sure doing at least 2 more of these within the next couple of weeks. So if you want to see those the moment they come out, then make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on.
So there's quite a complex magic system there. I love that, and then it's like, and then, do you know what? They just bypass it and call it skills. But it's also what makes it stronger, so like, yeah, that was cool. It was really interesting. I like learning about magic systems and stuff and like how it actually works and that. That's cool. And then yeah, he's got how strong is Rimuru, so we're going to check that one out next and then go from there. So until then, thank you guys very much for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave comments down below, let me know what you want to discuss in future videos, and I'll see you guys, just all you guys next time.